I like collecting games, modern games and retro games, and I'm always looking for new ways to add new games to my collection. What's up, Grim Crew? Welcome back to my gaming dungeon. I am the Grim Gamer. My friends call me D. Welcome back to the channel for another video. Over the past 3 months, I've been adding retro games to my collection by using monthly retro game subscription services. And originally, I only wanted to try one, and that ended up leading me to conducting a little experiment, and I tried 3 different services in those 3 months. Those 3 different services were Retro Game Treasure, GG Retro Box, and Video Games Monthly. So in this video, I want to compare those subscription services, the boxes and games that I got from them, and my overall experience with these 3 services. The things I liked, the things I didn't like, and my final thoughts and opinions on these services, and which one will I continue to get. Starting off with the first service I chose was Retro Game Treasure. Now, things that I did like about that service. I loved their website. The way that their website was set up was great. They had a lot of choices, and it was very simple to use. When you put your games into your list on their website, you just start typing the title, and the game will pop up, and you just select it. Easy peasy. Nothing to it. They have a lot of preferences, which I liked. You can go through the preferences, and you can choose your collecting level, whether you're just starting to collect, whether you've been collecting for a year or more, or if you're a hardcore collector, which is probably why I got what I did from them in such good condition. I don't necessarily consider myself a hardcore collector, but when it comes to the quality of things that I pick up, I look for certain things and I want things to be a certain way. You can tell them which genres of games that you're looking for. So what types of games would you be looking for in your box? And if you want mature games or specific accessory games included or excluded in your selection and in your box, well, you can do that too. Also included on their website, they have a wish list. They have a wish list section where you can add games to your wish list that you'd like to get. Now, that doesn't necessarily guarantee that you'll end up getting those games from your wish list, but hey, it doesn't hurt to add them in, and it doesn't hurt to try. Their price point was something else that I liked. They seem to be one of the cheaper options for a service like this that you can get with a price tag of $40, or you can pay for multiple months and shipping and tax and all that stuff. I think you can even prepay up to a year. But the price, just $39.99, $40 a month, isn't too bad. Now, with the shipping and the tax included, for me, it came out to almost $50, and there are some other options I'll talk about later that could be just a little bit cheaper than that, but for around $50, that wasn't too bad. But one last little thing, the games came in this neat little bitty treasure box, which I think is a nice little touch. Retro Game Treasure, and you get these games in a little treasure box. It's a nice little touch that I liked. Now, one thing that I have to mention that I didn't like was the fact that they only have one plan. Now, again, you can pay monthly or you can just prepay for, several months or a year, whichever, but the only plan that you can get is a plan where you get 3 to 5 games in their box. And what I don't like about that is you have no idea how many you're getting. Are you getting 3? Are you getting 5? Are you getting 4? You never really know. That's just kind of the risk you take. Now, my experience of getting this particular box is when I opened it, I got the bare minimum. I only got the 3 games. Those of which that I got being Jurassic Park on the Genesis, NASCAR 99 for the PS1, and Call of Duty Finest Hour on the GameCube, they were all in very good condition. And that's one thing that I can appreciate, and that's probably thanks to that preference that I put in. I did select that I was a hardcore collector because the quality of the games and the overall quality of the cartridges or the discs or the packaging really does matter to me. And so because of that preference, I have to assume that that's why I got things in the shape that I did, but probably the reason I only got 3 games. What really disappointed me about this box of Retro Game Treasure was the value. The value really ruined it for me. With shipping and tax all included, it came out to $49.48. Now, by the time I opened the box, I got the games out, I went to price charting, and when I valued them, at that time, they may or may not have changed between then and now. Again, this was a couple of months since I opened this box, and I haven't looked at them again, but at that time, the games in the box valued at only $23.14. That's a big difference. It was a difference of $26.34 in the negative, and that was the biggest difference of all three boxes that I got. Overall, I appreciated what I got in the box. I appreciated the quality of what I got in that box. But when it came right down to it, only 3 games, and to come that short of the value, just not very impressed, and quite frankly, just very, very disappointed. So because of that, I decided to cancel that subscription and try a second one. And for the second box, I decided to go with GG Retro Box. Now, for some things that I liked about GG Retro Box. One of the things that I did like is that, just like with Retro Game Treasure, you can select some preferences. Now, GG Retro Box was not as in-depth as Retro Game Treasure as far as the preferences go, but they are still present. And I think that goes a long way with some of the selection that you get with your boxes. For the preferences, you put in your favorite genres, what consoles you want games for, and your preferred regions. So you can get games that are specific to your region and where they were released, or you could also put in like, hey, I would like to get some imports, some Japanese, some European, whichever the case may be. GG Retro Box also has perhaps the best and easiest site to put in your collection. When you start adding your games to your collection, you just simply start typing out the title and several suggestions will start popping up. You just select your game as well as the condition, whether it's loose, there was no manual, it's complete, or it's brand new. I don't know how far that goes into what they may select for your box to send you, but still, some preferences and just a couple of things to try to get that box to be a little bit more tailored to you, I greatly appreciate. On top of that, GG Retro Box, I think, has some of the coolest boxes as far as these retro game services go. Like their box, or the box that I got at least, has this really cool artwork here on the front. And a couple unboxings I've seen of some other people, the artwork seems to be different for every single one of these customers, and I think different every single time. That is a really nice touch, really makes the box pop. Obviously, the box itself isn't really what matters here, but still a really nice touch that I really, really like. Now for what I feel like is the downside of GG Retro Box. Part of that being the price. I talked about Retro Game Treasures, and they were on the cheaper end of the spectrum as far as some of these services go. Well, GG Retro Box is completely on the opposite side of that spectrum. At $65 a month, it's one of the pricier options out there, from at least what I saw by doing this. You can also pay a couple of months in advance, or you can pay month to month, or you can even pay for up to a year. But just like Retro Game Treasures, still only got the one plan. You can only get the one plan where you get 3 to 5 games in your box, and you have no idea how many you're getting. Now, there was a little something on the bottom of their website that I didn't notice before when I signed up for this, but at one point, apparently, they had a premium box option. Now, I don't see that as a thing anymore. That looks like it's been listed as out of stock, at least ever since I started looking into them. But the premium boxes typically had 3 to 5 games, and the ultimate box would have 3 to 6. However, the premium box, which is what I got, may occasionally have a 6th game, depending on the systems that you have selected. And that's probably why I got 6 in my box. The other downside that I've seen with this is the fact that For this box, I had to choose 5 different consoles to get games for in this one. So if you're trying to find a service like this and you only have 3 or 4 consoles that you want to collect games for and get sent in the mail, this one probably wouldn't work for you. As far as my experience with GG Retrobox, again, I just mentioned having to select 5 different consoles. I didn't care for that much, and I have enough consoles here in my collection to choose from where I could choose 5. That really wasn't the issue, but for a service like this and getting games this way for a couple of my collections, I was only looking to get games for 3 specific consoles. Really, it was only going to do 2, but when I first started this and I tried the Retro Game Treasure, I only wanted to do 2. They made me select a third, which 3, okay, that's fine. That's not that big of a deal. But with selecting 5, I just had to select a couple extra consoles that I really didn't want to add into this and run the risk of getting games for a collection that I didn't want to get in a service like this. Now, as I said, I did get 6 games in my box, probably due to the fact that I had selected a couple extra consoles and their website stating depending on what consoles you select, you could possibly get a 6th, which is what they did for me. Once again, I didn't know that that was coming. I didn't know that was happening. And the idea that I could get 3 to 5, once again, didn't particularly care for that. Now, in my box from GG Retrobox, there was no variety as far as the games for the consoles that I selected. Now, again, I've made this point several times now, but 5 consoles I had to choose, and unfortunately, all 6 of those games were all for the PlayStation 2. And the PlayStation 2 was a console I didn't really want to select anyway. But I had to have 5, so I selected the PlayStation 2 as a filler. And for a box that I had to select 5 different consoles, the fact that I only got games for 1 of those consoles was very disappointing. The games also came in varying quality. Half were complete in box, which I did appreciate. But the other half, they were missing manuals, and some of the cases were damaged. Some of the clips were broken. One of them looked like it was even chewed up a little bit or something. I don't really know what was going on there, but some of them were not in the greatest of condition. The ones that were, I appreciated very much. Now, when it comes to the value of what I got, that was pretty good. Now, I want to stress that when I ordered my particular box, I got a special price because I ordered during a holiday season. Typically, as I said, this box would run you $65. That is tax and shipping included. That's everything. But when I ordered mine, I paid $52. And again, that's tax and shipping, all included. And by the time I opened the box up, I saw what was inside. I added up all the prices. The games in this box valued at $50.81. And that's only a shortage or difference of $1.19. And it was easily, by far, the best value I received out of any of these boxes. And I appreciated that very, very much. But because of that $65 price tag and the fact that there was no variety and I had to have the 5 consoles, I just thought to myself, I don't know if I want to take the gamble yet again with GG Retrobox. Again, I appreciated the value that I got, but there were still a few things that I was disappointed in. So I thought about it, and I decided to cancel that subscription as well. And then I thought, you know, there is one particular service out there that I've seen probably more either on social media or on YouTube or anything of people getting and opening, and you know what, I think I want to try that one as well. And that's where it was like, well, this is kind of turning into a little bit of an experiment. Let me get a third box from a completely different provider and see what happens there. And that's when I decided to sign up for Video Games Monthly. Now, things that I like about Video Games Monthly. First off, they have various plans that you can choose from, and I like that a lot. You can choose a plan with 3, 4, 5, 10, or 20 games. They're all varying in prices, of course, but hey, you have options, and I love having options. And I also love the fact that when you pick a plan, whether it be the 3, 4, 5, 10, or 20, and you pay for that, you know at least how many games you're going to be getting in that box. I like that a lot. One other thing that I really like is the chance for some bonuses. With VGM, you have a chance that they will just send you some extra games in your box. Games that you're not expecting to get. Do you like getting extra games? I like getting extra games. You know, what's not to like there? I've seen unboxings where customers receive a 1-up or 2-up card in their box, meaning that they got an extra game or 2 extra games in their boxes. And that's really, really cool. Now, it's not a guarantee, but that chance is a fun little thing to hope for each month. Something that kind of gets you excited for receiving that box in the mail and going, did I get a little something extra? It'd be cool if I did. And as another little small thing, they like to throw in other small goodies there for you. They like to throw in some little trinkets in your box. I got a little button in mine, but I've also seen other things in some other unboxings that I have watched. Like, for instance, an example, like some stickers, you know, of different mascots from various video game franchises like Mario. Now, the downside to VGM, or at least what I would consider some of the downside, when it came to Retro Game Treasure and GG Retro Box, I liked their websites. They were easy to use and very user-friendly. And to put your games and stuff in, it worked very well. VGM's website is very bare bones, I guess is the best that I can say it. And I would like to have shown you some screenshots of theirs as well, like I did with the other two, but unfortunately, since apparently I had canceled my plan already before recording this, unlike the other two services, VGM would not allow me to log back in and kind of go through the things that I had selected to kind of show you what I'm talking about, which, well, that's pretty unfortunate that they seem to kind of kick me out of my profile, unlike the other two. And even though I can't show it to you, I can tell you that unlike the others, no preferences. None. With VGM, you simply pick your plan, select the consoles you want games for, update your game list, which I'll talk about that in a second. That's a whole nother thing. But that's it. Very simple. No preferences like what kind of collector are you? What kind of game genres would you like? Nothing. Absolutely nothing of that sort. Now, I've mentioned it, I think, before that, you know, those preferences, I think, would allow this provider to tailor-make your box a little bit more personal to you. And personally, I feel like with no preferences whatsoever, that could lead to you getting a lot of games that you're not going to play or probably not even going to like. That's kind of what happened to me. But also, updating your game list on VGM, it's a chore. At least I thought it was. To update your game list, instead of being able to start typing out the title and the website starts filtering out games for you, narrowing it down, and you can just select the title once it pops up, no. You have to simply scroll down an alphabetical list of every single game for that console and just click a little checkbox. Now, it sounds simple enough, sure. But some games are not listed where you think they would be in that list. As a prime example, on the shelf over here for the Sega Genesis, I have The Lion King. And when I went to select that game in my list to make sure they didn't send me a duplicate, I went down to the T's. I had to scroll all the way down through all the Sega Genesis games, went to the T's, and looked for The Lion King, and it wasn't there. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe they excluded the part. I don't know. So back up to the L's I go, and I scroll through all the L's, and nothing. No Lion King. Well, come to find out, it's listed under Disney, The Lion King. I don't know if I should have just expected that and just should have assumed that that was how it was done, but if I could have just started typing it out, like in the other websites, it would have been a hell of a lot easier to find and get to. But with as simple as VGM's is, it was kind of a chore to update my game list. Now, as far as my experience with my box from Video Games Monthly, I liked that I could go back to choosing just the original 3 consoles that I wanted to get games for. Again, I also like knowing that since I paid for the 5-game box, I was going to at least get 5 games. I did get a 6th game in my box, but when I signed up, they were running a promotion at that time where they said if you were to sign up between such and such date and such date, they were just going to throw you in an extra game. So that 1-up that I was telling you about is basically what I got, which was really nice. I liked in this box that there was some variety. I chose 3 consoles, and I got at least 1 game for all 3 of those consoles. Those consoles being the original PlayStation, the Sega Genesis, and the Nintendo GameCube. And getting that variety, a little something for each console, I really like that a lot. Now, unfortunately, out of those 6 games, without having any kind of preferences to choose from on their website, I feel like that hurt a lot as far as VGM being able to ship out games to me that were going to interest me, that I was going to like. So out of the 6, maybe only 2 of them I might keep out of the 6, and that's not a good average. Now, to be fair, even if I had some preferences to choose from, that doesn't mean necessarily that I was going to get anything different than what I did. But I think with, again, the having no preferences to choose from, I don't think that helped. Now, in this box, unfortunately, the quality simply wasn't there. I received games varying in quality from a collecting standpoint, at least for me personally. One PS1 jewel case was all cracked and busted. 2 games didn't even come in their original cases at all. So out of the 2 games that I might keep, only 1 will I probably actually keep. The other being Spy Hunter, since it wasn't even in its original case. If it was in its original case without the manual, it would have been one thing. But in the flimsy little case that it got sent in, I may also get rid of that too. But at least with Spy Hunter on the GameCube, I wouldn't mind replacing it with a complete in-box copy. But it doesn't necessarily mean I'll end up keeping this one. Now with this box from VGM, the other problem for me was that the value was also not there. When it was all said and done with shipping and tax, everything included, I paid $55 for this box. By the time I opened the box, I got them all out, I looked them all up. The games in this box valued at $34.16. That is a negative difference of $20.84. Now, it wasn't as bad as Retro Game Treasures, but it was pretty damn close and still extremely disappointing. Now, I know that only getting 1 box from each service is probably not the best way to compare these services. If I were to continue to get any of them, some of my next boxes may have been really good, and my opinions would be completely different. So I know that my thoughts and opinions on these services are only going to mean so much, and only getting 1 box from each one probably isn't the proper way to gauge what these services can offer. But I have the opinion that you never get a second chance to make a good first impression, and unfortunately, for various reasons, none of the 3 made that good first impression on me. Now, I really love the idea of getting one of these, doing the unboxing, trying out some different games that I've never played before, filming it for content for the channel, and I still want to continue doing that. So when it comes to the question of which one of these services will I continue to get, well, the answer to that question would be none of them. It may have just been bad luck on my part or something. I don't really know, but when it comes to the value, I've lost enough money between these 3 boxes that I could have literally purchased a whole nother box. So to continue to take that risk on that kind of a loss, it doesn't really make sense to me. However, I still love the idea of having a mystery box of games to open and try out and film and do content with, and I want to continue to keep doing something like this. So, in between the last unboxing and recording this, I have brainstormed an entirely different idea to be able to continue to do something just like this, but with my own twist. So you'll have to stay tuned to the channel to find out what that is. Now, closing comments, as I said, there were things about each one of these services that I did like, and if I could combine those things, I think I would continue to support and purchase one of them. If I could take the easy game entry of GG Retrobox, the preferences of Retro Game Treasure, and the fixed amount and possible bonus games of Video Games Monthly, then I would have everything that I would like in a service like this. But that's just not the case, and therefore I will not be continuing to get any of these services in the mail. Still, it was a fun experiment. I got a couple of good games out of it that I do look forward to playing more of, and more importantly, I got an idea on how to continue to do openings just like these, but in my own way for content in the future. If you like this video, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already so that you don't miss out on any other gaming content coming to the channel. Also, if you are so inclined to do so and would like to chat with me a couple of times a week, I go live on Twitch every Tuesday and Thursday nights, 11:30 p.m. Eastern start time, and I play all types of different games over there. Link in the description below. And that's going to be it for this video. Again, I appreciate you stopping by, and I will see you on the next video. I'm D. I'm the Grim Gamer. We'll see you guys next time.